Hello, Crystal Palace. Welcome to the Upper Norwood Library Hub's Library Live Lunch. This is a place to share positive and useful local information, find out about our lovely community in more depth, and help keep us all connected during this time. So my guest today is Caspar Kennerdale, who some of you may know, who runs Clear Community Web, helping to develop digital skills in the community. Caspar, it's lovely to have you back. Thank you for joining me. Tell us, give us a quick overview of Clear Community Web for anybody who doesn't know it.
Well, in simple terms, we kind of help people with technology. So that's via classes and workshops. And we've moved to kind of a virtual setting, obviously, at the moment. We also run kind of critical support. We primarily work with older people, vulnerable adults, carers, but we also train and enable community groups to help the people that they work with. And we've done quite a lot of for training, facilitating on tools such as Zoom and Teams as well. And we really just try to help people kind of connect with the classes and sessions that they were engaging with before lockdown.
Hugely valuable, especially right now when it's the only way people have been able to connect with friends and family. And you're currently running the digital strand of our Library Hub project, All Alone Together. Do you want to tell us a bit about that and what's involved?
Well, I guess we were trying to look at a way of kind of bringing on board some more volunteers around the All Alone Together project, but a way of trying to connect with some of the people that may not be digitized already, and kind of luckily, like you kind of pull a rabbit out of the bag. We kind of got donated 10 Android tablets and 3 months worth of data. And the idea really is I've been working with some local organizations and charities, including Age UK Croydon, Croydon Council, Haxton Green Time Bank, but also the Kingswood Community Shop, to identify some of their more isolated residents. And the idea is to kind of take these residents through what we call Digital Horizons, which is the program I've been kind of running elsewhere, which is a series of kind of classes to kind of help someone from zero become a hero, if you like, with the real intention of, number one, being able to make kind of video calls independently, but also to kind of access kind of classes. So we've identified kind of 10 residents, and the idea is twofold. So to find some other volunteers to now support those residents over the summer in a one-to-one context. So we have to obviously, work the boundaries around that, whether it's in a garden, on a doorstep, whether it's in someone's house, and that'll all be down and independent and dependent on the person's needs. And the idea is to then experience, if you like, the Crystal Palace Festival online with the tablets. Just kind of trying to pull in as many different projects together and a little bit of well-being. So the idea is at the beginning of the day, or beginning of the festival day on the Saturday and the Sunday, we'll try to kind of connect with all of the kind of the residents with their volunteers, get them all kind of either engaging in a part of the festival, maybe even do an interview, maybe even get one of them to sing. That would be great. But just a kind of a way of kind of experiencing something different, something they may never have done. But I think what's also important about this is we're talking about a group of people that may never have experienced the festival at all, whether it's because of anxiety, physical limitations. So it's just quite a nice way, and it's a nice way of demonstrating that kind of digital isn't all bad, if you like. And I think that if you're outside of that world, there is a sense of either fear, suspicion, and whatever, bullying. This is just quite a nice way to spend a bit of time with someone, but also participate in something that's happening locally as well. So the idea behind that is to then, if we can take that to the next level. So over the last few weeks, I've also been in contact with a fair few local care homes, assisted living, housing, but also I do some partnership work with a disability charity called Lend Cheshire. They have a couple of homes in the area. So what we would really like to do is try and get some additional volunteers that actually may have a tablet, may have a laptop, and would love to actually just go and spend a couple of hours during that time. And if we can get an extra 20, 30 people that it's not Glastonbury numbers, but actually it could be quite nice. I feel a little bit like the digital Pied Piper, except we're kind of leading people to the festival by hook or by crook.
Excellent. So sort of opening new horizons for people who might not have had the opportunity, and without the financial impact maybe that would normally go with that. And
absolutely,
with support.
And I think what the real key thing is, I mean, everything needs to have a name. So Horizons does sound a bit grand, but at the same time, it is about actually kind of showing, a lot. When you're talking about sort of some of the Age UK, Croydon and Lambeth programs, for example, they've been having to move quite a lot of their stuff. So chair-based exercise, for example, singing, even knitting classes and stuff like that. So there is a way of actually staying in contact. And what we've been spending quite a lot of time doing in our kind of one-to-one support is kind of getting people onto that first call. And it can be a wonderful experience. You kind of talking people through. It's phone calls, sometimes it could take several sessions to get someone in, but the moment that video goes on for that first time, it's like you see these like lights. It's almost like it's just great. It's like like a positive Blair Witch project or something like that. You know what I mean? But you just see, it's brilliant. But you also see that actually a world kind of opens up. And I think one of the things that I noticed at the earlier stages of lockdown is some of us are more used to video technology, whether it's doing on webinars, etc. My experience was either on a kind of a one-to-one context, or you're in some large webinar where there's like 20, 30, 40 people, and it's quite faceless. So actually you're just listening in, and half the time you're doing your work at the same time or whatever. And it was quite interesting to see kind of this newer, if you like, group of people come to this for the first time. And when you sort of start looking at kind of local groups, and them continuing to attend maybe classes that they had done in the real world. And I think you'll have noticed this with the choir stuff, when all of a sudden you see people that you kind of know locally, even if you don't know, that hits a completely different message. And all of a sudden, so it's not like, I'm turning up to a class of 20 people I don't know. It's like, oh, I saw him in the queue to Sainsbury's sort of 3 weeks ago, or isn't that guy that, whatever it is. And I think that really has kind of made a difference. And I think that one of the things that I've particularly noticed with the variety of virtual classes that I've been either involved in or have kind of conducted is that, that local element, even though we're digital, international, whatever it is, potential, that local element is paramount. And that's the thing that's keeping a lot of these things going. So being able to kind of contribute to all together now, I think is perfect. And to, tie it in with Crystal Palace Festival now, I think is perfect as well. And just meets those, meets all of that criteria. But I think hopefully it'll be a nice way for volunteers to get involved. And, I think that, we've had a tough few months, and it's not over. And now the summer's kind of coming out, and it's not about I think we've all got to be careful, but it's a nice way of positively kind of giving back as well, I think now.
Yeah. So in a sec, I'd love you to tell us a bit more about what the volunteer roles are.
Okay.
But I just want to say hello very quickly to the people who are watching. So I know that we have Samantha, Ashaki, Mariana, Sue, Melvin, and Nicole. So it's lovely to have you guys watching. Thank you. And there's probably more people watching whose names I actually can't see. So welcome to you guys too. If you've got any questions or comments for Caspar, please do drop them in the feed of whichever social media platform you're on, and we will try and answer them as we go. So Caspar, do you want to tell us a bit more about, because you are actively looking for volunteers, so tell us a bit more about what they would be doing.
Okay, so the volunteers for the Digital Horizons program will basically, a volunteer will be responsible to be taking the tablet to the actual chosen resident. That will be their buddy over the summer. They'll need to spend between 6 and 8 hours, possibly over 6 sessions over the summer, taking this particular resident through, certain tasks, how to access certain apps, how to do basic searching, and how to signpost them to particular classes and sessions. But also, the idea through that is to kind of give them something useful that they want to do. So it may be, helping them add their family context. It may be kind of, helping them look for, videos on YouTube of a particular interest to that. So there is a kind of a kind of I guess kind of a friendship side, kind of that side of things. It's about getting to know the person as well.
Buddy
and
scheme.
Then basically. Yeah. And then the idea is then to be with that person on Crystal Palace Festival, and trying to find some of the activities or events or acts that would be of interest to that person. And the idea would also to have some form of celebration event, either probably the middle of September, something like that. But whether that's virtual, whether that's in the real world, it all kind of depends. But that's the idea. There'll be some sort of a learning involved for the kind of the resident as well. But I think what you'll find is it's a huge eye opener in terms of seeing someone actually going through some of these steps for the first time. You kind of you realize how much we kind of take for granted. So that's that volunteer role. The second volunteer role is really specifically only specifically on the day of the festival. So we'll be looking for additional people that may have a tablet with some data that would be willing to kind of either go to a kind of an agreed place or sort of a house or whatever it is, and just kind of access the festival with either a group or an individual. And we're kind of just working on all those numbers now.
Amazing. You've actually been nominated as a Crystal Palace Festival cause, I think.
Okay.
So what would that provide if you
Well,
if you
I think
it?
I mean I mean, to be honest, I was, pretty flabbergasted by this, because I think, Crystal Palace Festival is I think it's a kind of a linchpin of the area. I think it kind of really is a kind of a central organization. So for me, it was a real honor, because it kind of demonstrated that whilst I've always had this idea to be this kind of local organization, that was the recognition of that.
Mm.
Um, how we would kind of use the any kind of the funding that came from that would be probably be twofold. So I think we'd probably invest in a little bit more the hardware to use for our classes. So that would probably be some additional refurbished laptops for the library, but also some more tablets to use on our kind of workshops and
Mhm.
stuff. But I think what we really would want to do is just use that opportunity to run a sort of kind of, basically to kind of open doors in Annerley,
Okay.
in Penge, and the sort of Sydenham and kind of the Kingswood estate. And
Mm.
these are the kind of little, areas that we're kind of less known. I think it'd be quite nice to kind of, open some doors there,
Mhm.
kind of take what we do down to those kind of
Yeah.
community centres and spaces.
Yeah. Just be able to broaden the range, broaden the reach of what you can do.
Well, yeah, no, absolutely, because a lot of we deal with a lot of people that either are isolated indoors. They may have a limitation that restricts their their movement, or actually they've got anxiety. So
Mm.
actually going up to the top of the hill is actually a bigger ordeal than people realise. And all of these little pockets have got their own little community and stuff
Mm.
as well. Anyway, if you
Mm.
you go down to Kingswood Estate and you see both Paxton Green Time Bank and the community shop there, and the there's some great stuff going on there. But
Mm.
people have got their their own little identity and stuff as well. So it would be nice to kind of open a few doors elsewhere and say hi.
Mm. Brilliant. And today is actually the last day to vote for Crystal Palace Festival causes, I think, isn't
Yeah.
it? So the link is in the social media feeds. There are obviously, I think it's 5 brilliant causes, of which Clear Community Web is one, and I think 3 will be chosen. So
Yeah.
please do go vote for your favourite causes today. And of course, Caspar would be delighted if it was Clear Community Web.
Brilliant.
So good luck with that one.
Okay.
Do you want to tell us about what else you're doing at the moment?
Well, I guess the other projects that we've been working on have been but it's a similar Digital Horizons project, but it's based in kind of Kennington. We're working with one of the housing associations there to kind of
Mm.
test, how the kind of the learning with some of their residents,
Mhm.
and using iPads with that particular project.
Mm.
But what we are really focusing on in the background is to launch publicly what we're calling our community tech support service. So at the moment, we run a virtual tech support for those on benefits, older people, vulnerable adults, who can kind of contact us with questions and queries. We spent a lot of time signposting people, a lot of time helping people with Zoom, but we want to develop that service, and we are looking to develop this across Lambeth, Croydon, and Southwark. Currently, if it's referral at the moment. So if
Mm.
people are coming through an organisation such as Link Age Southwark, Age UK, Croydon and Lambeth, Disability Lambeth, Leonard Cheshire, these are all organisations that refer, as well as SLAM, and St Thomas's. So what we'd like to do is to have more of a public offering, because not everyone is on that referral system,
Yeah.
and yeah, so that's what we're kind of working on in the background.
And I guess by the very nature of it, it's the people that you're wanting to reach out and help are actually the people who it's maybe more difficult to contact, because they're the ones who are not on social media.
Oh yeah. No, I mean, yeah. I mean, I think a lot of our referrals either come through people or they come from the leaflets
Mhm.
that we've either and old school flyer postering on bus stops and stuff like that. Um, um, but actually, particularly when we started our kind of tech support around the kind of COVID mutual aid, what we did find is the people that came to us, even were people that didn't have email. They didn't might have used WhatsApp, but could text, could ring. And we helped quite a few people in with things like putting them through to utility companies, helping them kind of do meter readings, helping them kind
Wow.
of lodge relevant paperwork
Yeah.
for council services and stuff. So we do. I mean, that's the kind of thing we did do in
Yeah.
before lockdown in the library, but it was quite interesting to see
Mm.
that continued to work. And is that kind of mid gap because you know um, you know, I guess in some respects, people like Citizens Advice do this kind of stuff, and they
Mhm.
do. But at a kind of much more of a local level, people are kind of suspicious of bigger organisations, or
Mhm.
they're maybe a bit shy, so
Mhm.
they quite like the more of a localized route, but also someone that they've heard of, or someone that they can trust individually. Even if we recommend that actually this is the best course of action, the fact that either ourselves or the library kind of offer that
Mm.
means that they'll be confident with that is the right thing to do.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Personal recommendation makes a really big difference, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Or knowing it's through an organisation that you already know and trust
Yeah, no, absolutely,
helps.
absolutely. And I
Yeah.
think, underlying this is, at the same time, what you've got to also remember or appreciate is, we're coming off the back of, lots of issues around things like citizenship,
Of
Windrush.
course. Yeah.
Now, who's eligible for which grant and stuff
Mm.
like that. So I think that people are, looking at, so I think really establishing a more of a local voice to,
Mm.
even if it is signposting, and most of the time it
Mm.
is, but the right signposting is the way forward.
Yeah.
But the thing to just throw into the mix is that as of next year, it's going to be the first kind of digital first census. And so
Oh.
what we're going to find is um, potentially a huge gulf between who's actually able to
Mm.
submit their census, because when digitized, what you'll find is um, the army, if you like, of people that would go round to people's houses and help people fill in the forms will be reduced, because they want to digitize this. And I think
Yeah.
that this is actually something that needs to be kind of looked at and considered. So obviously I'm kind of trying to gear up and remind people and kind of
Yeah.
make people aware of this, and all of the you know community shops that have got little computer banks, whether it's community libraries, whether it's just other centres. Actually this is something that we could, and we should be able to facilitate. And if not,
Mm.
then what we could be doing is having a serious kind of under submission, or whatever the phrase is, with this year's census.
Yeah. And or everybody trying to do it literally at the last minute, like submitting your tax on the
Yeah,
tax
yeah,
form on the
exactly.
31st
Yeah,
of
yeah,
January.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wait,
And
we won't be submitting anyone's tax returns. That's for certain. That's where the line is drawn.
excellent. I won't come to you for help with mine
Yeah.
then. um, is there anything else? We're nearly out of time actually. Is there anything else that you want to tell us about today,
um,
particularly?
no, not really. But I guess what is quite nice is the fact that, so we run a digital skills for seniors class. It used to run every Tuesday, and it used to run every Tuesday in the library. And I was always surprised to why that people have kind of turned up week in, week out. And what I noticed is that whilst I thought it was because of the class, I see them all sneaking off together either before or after for coffee. So what you actually realise is that actually a class at the library isn't just that hour of someone sort of like at the front of the class. It's, you know, for certain people, it's actually half a day's kind of excursion. They're getting out of the house, they're kind of meeting people and stuff. So I think in some respects we can be reminded of that, and we know that. But what was nice is that that same said group of people now are still, you know, attending the virtual classes, and that class has now gone up to a group of, you know, I think our maximum was like 15 or 16 one week.
Wow.
And what we see there though is also now we've been able to, you know, access well, other people being able to access the class that either wouldn't have come to the library for a variety of reasons. So, you know, we're reaching a slightly wider group of people around the borough. And yes, yeah, so that I think that's just really nice. In some respects, it was completely against all odds that the class would work, and you know they've kind of you know proved themselves wrong, if you like, which is quite nice.
It's lovely. It's lovely that that everybody having to become more okay with technologies actually means it's opened up more doors to people. I think that's lovely.
Yeah.
We've actually got a comment from Stephen who says the new normal needs to adapt with what tech can offer.
Yeah.
Which I think kind of backs up what you were just saying.
Yeah, but I think we can you know, and I think also we need to, one of the barriers I think that people that are either unused to, uncertain about it, and there's a lot of fear factor around things like, you know, scams and costs, and you know, all of these things are kind of true and real as well. But we shouldn't be controlled and dominated by them either. So you know, the you know, my approach is actually, you know, pull the sleeves up, let's press a few buttons kind of thing, and try to break down that kind of being too precious about things as well. You know, but yeah, I think that I think one of the issues with the adoption is people have to have a reason for it. So I can't remember exactly who quoted this. It probably wasn't you know, wasn't some sort of thought leader or anything like that, but it was along the lines of kind of, you know, with, you know, thought that the, you know, the digital revolution or whatever was you know, supposed to have happened around, you know, 20 years ago or whatever. But actually now's the real digital revolution, because it's not so much revolution, but it's like the change, because you know, the technology is here, but we've had to use it. And I think what you find is when you don't have to use it, you don't get into the habit of using it, and it's kind of, you know, practice makes, you know, not makes perfect, but it's that kind of, you know, you've got to be comfortable.
Necessity is the mother of invention.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you. I've got a follow-on comment from Stephen, actually. He says, small action, steps for the greater good. Well done, Caspar and community. So I think
Brilliant. Thank you.
that's a lovely way to finish.
Yeah. Okay.
So, brilliant. Thanks very much, Caspar. It's great to chat to you again. Just before I do finish, I have a couple of things to mention. So one is that we have a live streamed concert through the Library Hub this Sunday, 26th of July at 6 p.m, which is being run by lovely Daniel, who runs the cafe there as well and is a West End singer. So it's some West End singers, some local acts, including Palace a Cappella. We've been working very hard. We're very excited. So please do tune in. It's free. They're taking donations for a couple of really good causes, but it is free. So if your financial situation doesn't allow you to donate, please do come along and support by being there online and watching. So the performers are performing live in the Library Hub, but no live audience. It's being live streamed, so we're being very careful about safety, but it is effectively a live concert. So please do tune in via the Library Hub Facebook page for that Sunday at 6 p.m. For anybody who's got kids who are musically and dramatically inclined, Daniel is also running a musical theatre camp over the summer. There's still a few places left, so please do check it out. The information, the link is in the social media feed. And finally, All Alone Together, which is happening project at the Library Hub now, which is what Caspar is part of. We are still looking for people to fill in the survey and to be interviewed. So we're creating an oral history of what's happened in this community during the pandemic. So if you have 5 minutes to fill in the survey, we'd be incredibly grateful. There's only 4 questions. And if you are up for being part of the actual some point soon for you to actually hear our local community telling of their experiences in their own words, in their own voices. So that's it from me for today. Tomorrow, my guest is Rachel New, who is a local dating and relationship coach. So tune in for that, and please bring your relationship and dating questions, and we will try and answer them live at the time. That's it from me for today. Thanks, Caspar. It's lovely to chat to you again. Take care, everybody. Stay safe. Enjoy the sun. See you soon.
Bye.